Hello everyone, welcome back to Hammer. It's been a little over a month since I made my last video, and that's mainly because I didn't know how to put this one together. I started drawing various images to do with what I wanted to talk about, but the layout of them I didn't like. I liked the overall drawings, but then I added this weird brown kind of papery background to them with text and everything, and it just didn't sit right with what I wanted to portray. I wanted to portray animals in their natural habitat, doing things that animals would do, but I ended up not doing that. So yeah, these are some of the animals that I drew to do with swamps, mires, marshes, and, bogs. We're going to start off with the first big actual drawing I did, which was the bloated breastie. The bloated breastie are named as such because the males can inflate their chests and even their heads to impress women. They also do a funny little dance, and they try and make sure they stand up high so that any women in the area, any females in the area, can see them. The females are adorned with a cute mustache, just something that I feel like birds would have. Yeah, I was really happy with the female. I was really happy with the male as well. Background could obviously use some work, but I'm not a background artist. I'm a creature artist. The next animal we're going to talk about is the ribboned dartface, another bird. I was quite happy with this bird. Floating in the water, as they do. They're kind of duckish. I like ducks. I like waterfowl. These ones sit atop the water, and then when they sense something under the water, they dive underneath. They go for fish. They go for frogs. They're named the ribbon dartface because, they stab with their beak, but they've also got these two long ribbon-like feathers coming out of their arse. I think the next bird we're going to talk about is the lily butcher. The lily butcher is a herbivore, a herbivorous water plant-eating bird. They're called the lily butcher because they butcher lilies. Like, they use their big, long, straight claws to slash up water plants, and then they, use their big, long necks to bend down and gobble that shit up. I was really happy with the way the lily butcher turned out. I think it's got that Therizino kind of look to it. Again, background could use more work, but yeah, overall, I really like the colours. I like how muted it is. I like that, it's just it's a bird. It's a dinosaur. The next one we're going to talk about is the puddle pup. The puddle pup is a generic term for stray dogs that inhabit the swamps and marshes of Hammer itself. So, found across Hammer are various stray dogs that are formed from villages that maybe have been forgotten about, or dogs that aren't needed anymore, so they're thrown out like, the common stray. They form packs, they hunt crabs, they eat fish, they hunt birds. I gave them a cute name, but they ain't cute. I reckon they would, mess you up if you got too close, because in the end of the day, they're just wild animals now. The next one we're going to talk about is the marsh drake. The marsh drake is a replacement animal for something I called the bourrock. The bourrock was a big hippo, and I felt like it was too Earth-like. I felt like it was too, like normal. So I drew a big dinosaur instead. And after I drew this, I had loads of lovely recommendations by other people to, draw more dinosaur-like creatures for my world. And I started doing so, and you'll see that in a second. Yeah, the marsh drake is like a ceratopsian kind of, like a rhino that just inhabits the swamp. Kind of like Indian rhinos, how rhinos are really good at swimming. But the next one we're going to talk about is the okey-okey bird. The okey-okey bird is named as such because that's the noise it makes. It makes an okey-okey noise, kind of like a breathing in whistle and then breathing out straight away like a... It's adorned with a bright white face, very striking, I'd say, like against the green marshy background, and it's adorned with a crest, so that when it's running through the reeds and tall grasses, it can just cut its way through, much like the modern day cassowary. The next little guy we're going to talk about is the rat-tailed peep. I got asked why rat-tailed, and I think it's kind of self-explanatory. If we look at its tail, it's got a relatively long rat-like tail. It's got quills on its back. It looks like a Compsognathus mixed with a Mononicus. Those are the two animals that very much inspired this. I imagine these things are small, kind of like egg thieves, or they hunt frogs, such as in the drawing. Yeah, I was quite happy with this. I imagine like both males and females are adorned with bright, colourful dewlaps, like the throat pouches. Yeah, like I've not really got much more to say. I think I did movement pretty okay with this piece. The next one we're going to talk about is the marshworm. Marshworms are large spinosaurid creatures. I was asked to draw a spinosaurid for the world, and I came up with this. It's very much like a more crocodilian, maybe draconic, like Baryonyx, something that hunts the open mud plains and stuff, like maybe it will dig down and blend into the mud, and then once it sees its prey, much like a crocodilian, it will lunge out and, latch on and grab with its big claws. The next one we're going to be talking about is the tideworm. Tideworms are large salamander-like creatures that hunt ducklings and fish. They sit beneath the muck of the water, and then as their prey gets closer and closer, they swim up to the surface, and then they lunge out with ferocity. They're just trying to grab anything they can. I really like this piece. This was one of my favourite ones I did. In fact, I think this is the one that caused me to have my current art block, because I used all my creative juices and threw it into this piece. I like the way the baby duck looks. The baby duck is a call to a drawing I did. Like, before I started doing all these scene ones, I drew a duck who just looked happy, and he also appears in the animation that perhaps you've seen or will see at some point. The next one we're going to talk about is the small but funny looking ticklebug. Ticklebugs are named as such because they fly over people, and when they fly over people, they tend to tickle your ears or your face. They're not meaning to, but anything to just, I don't know, I really like them. They're weird guys. I can't really say much more. I really like the way I drew the piece. I like that they kind of look like a flower. I imagine they're also called daisy kings because perhaps maybe people mistake them for flowers. This creature we're going to be talking about is the noose viperfish, a fast-moving predator of the water, something that hunts other fish in the water, maybe ducklings as well. Maybe it's even known for attacking tideworms. It moves fast and it whips its tail. It ties its body around its prey like a snake. The next one we're going to be talking about is the reed stalker latchleg, a large crocodilian that hunts the muddy waters of the swamps of Hammer. Latchlegs are the common name for crocodilians in my world. I really like this piece. I did. I have a few friends in some of the Discords I'm in who said that it looks like the little guy is just going to get away scot-free, and then someone else replied with, no, if he was a little bit closer, perhaps that crocodile would have got him. But yeah, I like the way the water's moving in this piece. I like the way he looks like he's turning his head to grab on. It's fun. I really do like the piece I did. This is just me bigging myself up, but I think I did a top-notch job. The hug dog. The hug dog. Look at them. They're so gorgonopsid, they're so doggish, the babies, I imagine they grow into sub-adulthood with their fur, and then they slowly lose their fur as they grow into a true adult. And then when they grow into a true adult, they're adorned with, these hair-like patches on their chin and on their arms and their legs and on their lower back. And males are adorned with a bright, colourful orange face. Yeah, I really like the hug dog. I think it's one of my best ones. I just like that it looks like a calm piece for a top predator of the swamp. The mud crawler latchleg, not as big as the reed stalker, but the mud crawler is a burrowing crocodile, something that digs underground, perhaps chasing prey, perhaps hunting things that live in the muck. But I imagine they also make nests in their little caverns that they make. I've not really got much more to say about this one. I like the claws. I think he kind of looks like a Pokemon. Yeah, the Punch Claw, a large theropod-like creature that hunts the swamp running through. And yes, they are a relative of the rat-tailed peep. I actually only had one person who recognised that they have a similar body plan, and they are essentially a larger cousin. And now the Florahorn. The Florahorn is a large, like, Parasaur, Edmontosaur style dinosaur creature that has like display structures on its side, and I imagine the display structures change colour depending on their mood and what's near them. Perhaps they turn bright orange if they see a predator, or if they're chasing something away, being aggressive. Perhaps it turns into this muted yellowy green. Yeah, I've got plenty of other creatures to continue drawing for the swamps and marshes and stuff, but I thought I'd best put something out, at least now, after a month. I have roughly 24 more creatures to draw for the swamps and bogs, but I've got many other biomes to draw for, and perhaps I'll make similar content to this in the future if that's what you're interested in. Yeah. Thanks for watching. Bye.